Today we're going to be painting a tiny little painting with tiny little art supplies. So here are my art supplies. I actually showed these in a separate video, so I'm going to link that video in the description below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to paint the tiniest little painting that I've ever made ever with the tiniest little paper. So I'm basically using watercolor paper that I've cut to size, and these squares are 1 inch, so it's about 1 inch by 1.5 inches, so super tiny. And a lot of my art supplies are super tiny too, so hopefully I'm able to paint a decent painting at this size with these materials. So I'm going to be using watercolor paints. Again, if you want to know what the paints are, these are Turner watercolors, I think. Yeah, these are Turner watercolors in this Altoid tin, and I talk about this in other videos, so I'm not going to talk about that. This is my tiny little porcelain watercolor palette, 2 tiny brushes, a like tiny pencil, some extra paper just in case I mess up. Put it over here. I'm going to use tiny board. I'm going to tape it with really thin tape. So I'm using Pro Artist tape. This is super thin. I use it when I am using my sketchbook, because if I want really thin edges and I don't want like to use like fat tape, you know, so it doesn't stick around the edge. So I'm gonna stick that down to that little board with this really thin tape, and I'm gonna attempt to make a tiny landscape. I'm gonna maybe zoom in a little bit so you can see that better. And I actually have a tiny little cute bunny rabbit. I think is adorable. It's a little brush rest, so I'm gonna put my little brushes there, my rabbit, and I'm going to use my tiny mechanical pencil to do a tiny little sketch here of, I'm going to make maybe some mountains in the background, nothing crazy. There we go. That's as much as I'm going to sketch. I got some water here that I'm going to put. I'm going to take the cap out of my paintbrush. Right, use clear water on the sky. Just wet the sky. I'm gonna use some, what is this? Ultramarine blue? I think that's ultramarine blue. And I'm gonna put it right there on the sky, and I'm gonna let it bleed. Looking good. Maybe I'll put a little bit of alizarin crimson. And I love this little tiny palette. I use it a lot when I go travel, because I like porcelain palettes, but if I don't want to carry with me, maybe I'm urban sketching or on a plane or something, you know, you just don't have space for like a huge porcelain palette, and it could break, it's heavy, and I love to use this. This is actually a sushi, a soy sauce container, or like a condiment cup, I should say. All right, that layer is dry. I think I'm gonna go paint the ocean a little bit. So I'm assuming this is like, there's water here and the sky and some mountains. I'm making this up as I go. I don't have a reference picture or anything. And I'm assuming that maybe, I don't know, there's some sun coming in here, and I'm gonna put like the sun in between the mountains right there. Kind of like that. That looks cute. Ooh. I'm gonna mix up some green with the ultramarine and this warm yellow color. and a little bit of the alizarin crimson. So I want to continue using the same colors to create a cohesive look to the painting. So I'm just going to paint some of these mountains. Again, these mountains are made up, so I don't know. This is that's cute. I'm gonna dry that, and then I'm gonna paint the foreground. All right, so I have my background nice and dry, looking really good. Now this landscape is made up, so I feel like making some palm trees. Like the foreground should be like palm trees. So I'm gonna mix like some sort of maybe dark brown, because these palm trees would be kind of against like backlit. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna literally, and I'm trying to like hold this brush somehow, paint some sort of palm tree here in the foreground to give it a tropical vibe. So I'm like imagining this is, you know, you're in a boat and you're looking at this little island from your boat. So I'm imagining some palm trees here. For some reason, I find that painting with tiny supplies relaxes me. I don't know why. There's something about it. It's working with limitations, and it's entertaining. Okay. I like that. So that's cute. I like how that turned out. Tiny little tropical landscape. So I'm gonna remove the tape now. It's not fully dry, but I think it's safe enough to remove the tape to see how it came out. Ooh, I think I ripped the paper. And my fingers look so fat and big next to this little painting. Oof, there we go. Yay! Tiny little watercolor painting. So, I'm really happy how that turned out. That's really cute. My first 1 inch, like by 1.5 inch watercolor painting. It's really small. In the past, I painted other tiny watercolors, but they were slightly bigger. So like I painted this one and these little floral, but they were about twice the size. So I cut this one in half. So it's actually, this is half the size of this. And I wanted to challenge myself to see what would come out. I really like it. I don't think it's gonna be the last time I paint tiny watercolors. I think I'm going to try to paint other tiny watercolor paintings in the future and maybe try to make them more intricate and see how far I can go. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please subscribe below, hit the like button, leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you have to say and anything else you would like to hear about. All right, well, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.